just changing our shape. That's the most important thing. If you keep changing your shape, your tissues are getting nourished, and that's a good thing. You're even changing your shape just sitting here because you're breathing. Your breathing changes your shape. When you breathe in, your body expands. When you breathe out, your body contracts. So you're actually changing shape just sitting and breathing, which is really important. So we're going to start there with some breathing. So if you want to come up to a comfortable seated position, and if you can just check your devices, make sure they're set to silence or off, that would be great. When you get here, just kind of lift up your toes, lift up your feet a little bit, spread your toes out nice and wide, place them down on the floor. See if you can get some good contact there. And then notice where you are in your sitting bones. Are you kind of leaning forward a little bit, leaning back, maybe side to side? Can you feel yourself nice and settled into your sitting bones? Relax your shoulders down. And imagine your head is just sort of tethered very lightly to your shoulders, right? Instead of having this like a tree trunk of a neck, just imagine your neck is kind of like a willow branch, right? It's very fluid, very natural moving. And then once you're comfortable there, just close your eyes. And follow your breath. Again, just thinking about the movement that's happening in your body, even though you're not moving your muscles, you're not contracting your muscles to move. By breathing, you've got a muscle that's contracting on its own, that's your diaphragm, that's actually creating some of this movement in your body. So let your breath get a little deeper with each inhalation. And notice specifically where you feel the most movement. So maybe you're someone who feels more movement in the lower rib cage as you breathe in and out. Or maybe you're someone who feels more movement in your belly as you breathe in and out. Maybe you feel a little more movement up by the collarbones, under your arms, maybe even in the back of your body. So think about or imagine your torso like an elastic container. So it's elastic on all sides, right? There's no hard side to this. It's elastic everywhere, front, back, sides, top, bottom. So that when you inhale, this elastic container expands in all directions, front, back, sides, top, bottom. And when you exhale, the elastic container contracts in all directions. As we continue with this breathing and thinking about the body like an elastic container, we're going to add a little bit of movement. So if you need to open like just one eye to see what's going on up here, I'll have you do that and then you can close your eyes. So with your next inhalation, you're going to sweep your arms out to the sides. Take the whole inhalation to bring the arms up overhead. And at the top of your inhalation, you're going to bring your hands together and bring your palms right down through the center of your body. All right? So as you inhale, the arms come out and all the way up. And as you exhale, the palms come together and all the way down. So if you have your eye or eyes open, I'm going to ask you to close your eyes now. So you've got this movement inside. I want you to experience this from the inside, not by watching me, not by watching somebody else, but by feeling it on the inside. And we're all going at a different pace, right? Because we're all breathing differently. So with your eyes closed, you're getting this experience of the breath initiating the movement of the arms. Right? So the inhale initiates that movement up, and the exhale initiates that movement down. And once again, we're all going at a different pace because we're all breathing a little bit differently. So the deeper your breath, the longer, slower your breath, the longer and slower your movements. The faster and shallower your breath, the faster your movements. The next time your hands are together at chest level, whenever that is, we're just going to pause there. We're just going to kind of meet up there. Breathing in and breathing out. And we're going to do another little movement. So again, if you want to just open one eye and have a look up here, as you inhale, you're going to push your palms away. And as you exhale, you're going to scoop your hands back toward your body. So as you inhale, you're pushing away. And as you exhale, you're pulling back in. So once you've got this visually, if you have your eye or eyes open, I'm going to ask you to close your eyes again and go into that internal experience of this movement. Some of you who've done Tai Chi, this might feel like very much like a Tai Chi movement. So it's just this nice fluid movement, breathing in as you push your arms out, breathing out as you pull your arms in. And again, the longer and slower your breaths, the longer and slower your movements. And the next time your hands come in toward your chest, you're going to take them and just place them on your chest right outside your collarbones. Again, if you want to just open one eye, have a look up here, you can do that, but then close your eyes again. So the hands are just resting here near the collarbones. And now as you breathe in and out, breathe in a way that you could fill the space underneath your hands, like your hands are rising and falling with your chest. So this is sort of the top of that container. You can even let your hands come up above the collarbones a little bit. So you feel that movement up and down as you inhale and exhale. And now along with that up and down movement of the collarbones, I want you to imagine or see if you can feel on your inhale the collarbones lengthening out to the side. So it's like the right collarbone is lengthening to the right and the left collarbone is lengthening to the left, as well as lifting up and lowering down. So we're trying to broaden the collarbones here. They're lifting up and out and moving down and in. Just a couple more of these nice full deep breaths. Again, just exploring this kind of top part of the container. This is a harder part of the container for a lot of folks to feel. And after your next exhalation, you can let go of your hands, let them come down to your lap, let go of the control of your breath, and just kind of go back to your natural breath for a moment or two. And then you can let your eyes drift open. Good. And then let's roll the shoulders a couple of times. So we're rolling shoulders up and around. Notice how the shoulders are feeling this morning. And let's roll the other way. Good. And then we're going to take the right arm and we're going to roll that shoulder up and around. Right? And now we're going to get the whole arm involved. So as you roll that arm up, extend your arm. As it comes down behind you, bend your elbow, and it's like you're pushing forward. So we're kind of doing a little sweeping. We're bending and extending the elbow. We're coming up as high as we can. So for some, that might be up here, right? It might not be straight for you. For others, it might be way up here. So we got that. So we're bending the elbow. Okay, the next time that your arm comes all the way up, you're going to hold here and give a little twirl to your wrist, right? 3 twirls and then down. Good. Come up, 3 twirls, and then down. And you can do this with your eyes open or closed, right? Up, nice deep breath. Exhale down and around. This time as you come up and do your twirl, we're going to reverse the direction. So come forward with the bent elbow and then go back. And this time twirl in the opposite direction. Oh, I didn't tell you to pay attention, did I? So you're going, I have no idea if that was opposite or not. I'm just going to pretend it is and she won't know. Come forward. So we're doing the bend first and then up. Good. One more time. We're going to go all the way up, twirl it around, and then bring that arm all the way back down. Let's go to the other side. So let's start just with the elbow, just kind of seeing what the shoulder can do this morning. Maybe the shoulder is more mobile, maybe it's a little more cranky. Okay, and then we're going to do that swoop. So the next time you come up, extend your arm, sweep it around behind, bend the elbow, and you're kind of scooping forward, up and around, and see if you can pull that stretch from your rib cage, right? So if you lift up through your rib cage, you're going to feel that more than if you just sort of bring your arm up and around and do all that movement from the shoulder. Let's add the little wrist twirl, right? So we all remember watching the Queen when she would wave, right? She did that little thing. So you might pay attention to the direction. You are, because you're wise, right? You got fooled that first time. You're not going to get fooled the second time. Okay, next time that arm is up, we're going to hold, give it a little twirl, and then come back down through the front. So we're bending first, and then extending. And bending first. Oops, and I forgot the twirl. Sorry. Yeah, you caught me. Go in the opposite direction. Right? And then down. So it's just, you're just twirling like 2 or 3 times up there. Right? And then down. Good. And one more time up. And then down. Excellent. Let's release that. Hands on your lap. Close your eyes for a moment. Just take a couple of breaths in and out. Just notice. Shoulders are a little more awake. We got a little bit of elbow work in there. We got a little bit of wrist in there. So we kind of killed like 3 birds with 1 stone. So let's open the eyes, and we're going to take the right arm now over to the left. So we're going to give a little stretch here. And as you pull that arm over to the left, turn your head and look out over your right shoulder. And we're going to lift and lower the chin. It's like you're tapping your chin to your shoulder, and then you're lifting your chin away from your shoulder. Breathing in and breathing out. As long as your breath is smooth and steady, it doesn't matter when you inhale or exhale. Good. Okay, and then bring your head back to center. We're going to release that arm. We're going to take the other arm. So take your left arm over to your right. We're just going to pull on that arm so we get a stretch through the shoulder. Turn and look out over your left shoulder now. Lift and lower. So the chin is sort of tapping the shoulder and then lifting, tapping and lifting, tapping and lifting. Breathing in, breathing out. And then the head comes back to center. Release that arm. Excellent. Take your right arm now. Bring it behind your back. And when it's back there, grab hold of that hand or wrist with the left and just give it a really gentle tug over to the left. So we're just trying to create a little bit of a stretch here through that left side. So what we're going to do here is keep the nose facing forward, and you're just going to take your left ear to your left shoulder and then lift back up. So we're just testing here. So we're just lowering the ear to the shoulder, but we're not bending the body, right? So you're not twisting or bending your body. It's just your neck here. And the next time you have your ear toward your shoulder, we're going to hold here. So you're not looking up like this, and you're not looking down like this. Your face is forward, but your ear is closer to your shoulder. And you're breathing. So notice where you're feeling a stretch, how much of a stretch you're feeling. And then let's do this. Let's take the left shoulder and bring the left shoulder up toward the ear. Right? So you get the ear going toward the shoulder and the shoulder going toward the ear. Remember when we had telephones? right? Remember doing this until your neck was going to fall off? Yeah, trying to do two things at once. So we're just doing this. You all okay out there? You breathing? Okay, so now hear me out. We're going to take the left shoulder away from the ear, but not quickly. We're going to try and make that left ear follow the shoulder. So we're trying to bring the shoulder away from the ear, but the ear is trying to follow the shoulder, almost like there's a string there, right? Can you feel a little more of a stretch? Okay, keep breathing. I hope we're getting into a place of just a little discomfort. Okay, let's try that one more time. We're going to do the telephone pose. So bring that shoulder up to the ear. Don't lift your ear up, though. Your ear is still going toward your shoulder. We're squeezing that shoulder up to the ear. It's a really skinny telephone. Okay, and now as you gently and slowly lower your shoulder away from the ear, see if you can get the ear to follow the shoulder. Wow. Pull down. It's like there's a cord between your shoulder and your ear, and it's given a little more of a stretch. If I were teaching a third class, I could get my neck perfectly horizontal here, it feels like. There's a difference, I'll just say that. There's a difference from when I did this in the last class to now. Okay, so now take your left shoulder and you're going to push your head up, right? And then relax the shoulder down. Take your hands to your lap. Close your eyes. Wow. Take a breath in and out and notice that right shoulder versus the left shoulder. You might feel like your right shoulder is farther away from your ear. Maybe it feels longer. Maybe it feels like there's more of a slope. You might have a little more sensation in that side of the neck or the ear or the top of the back. Let's take a breath in, let it out with a sigh. Open your eyes. Good. How'd that go? Okay. You feeling a little lopsided? Okay, good. Let's take the left arm, bring it behind your back. Same thing back there. Grab hold of your hand or your wrist or whatever you can comfortably reach back there without causing any pain. Just pull that over to the right a little bit here. So try not to twist your body. Try and keep your body nice and upright here. And we're just going to take the right ear to the right shoulder. And again, we're going very slow and then back. So a couple reasons why we go in and out of this posture. One is to just kind of test and see, oh, this feels different than the other side. I can go farther on this side. I can't go as far on this side. The other is to just warm up the tissue a little bit to get it used to what we're doing here. Because this is probably, since we don't have those kind of telephones anymore, we don't get into the telephone position. So we've lost that ability in our neck. So the next time you have your ear toward your shoulder, you're going to hold here. Automation has really taken away a lot of the movements that we used to do. You know, again, like just holding the telephone here. Think about driving. Like the car practically drives itself. Remember when you used to have to shift? So your leg was moving, your foot was moving on the clutch, your arm was moving on the shifter. You'd have to turn around and look back. Now you don't even have to do that. So let's take the right shoulder and bring it up toward the ear and the ear toward the shoulder. So again, it's the telephone pose. I'm going to call it the telephone pose now. So you got the telephone pose on the right. And now as we lower that right shoulder, let your ear try and follow the shoulder. Ooh. So it's like you've got a cord attached from your shoulder to your ear, and it's just gently pulling that down. And you're breathing in and breathing out. And again, might feel a little bit uncomfortable. The stretch might be pretty intense. Just breathe into it. If it's something that makes you kind of catch your breath, then you've gone just a little too far. Let's take that right shoulder up to the ear again. Don't lift your head though. So we're trying to keep the ear and the shoulder as close together as possible. Breathe in, breathe out. And then as you lower your right shoulder, let's see if we can get that ear to follow. So get a little more of a stretch in through that left side of the neck, left shoulder, maybe into the head. Some people feel it into the arm. It's always interesting to notice where you feel something, right? And there's really no right or wrong. Okay, and then we're going to take that right shoulder, we're going to push up into the ear and just kind of help the head come back up, right? And then lower that down. Release your hands, let them come to your lap. Close your eyes. Take some breaths in and out. Oh, just notice. Taking a nice deep breath, let it out with a sigh. Let your eyes open. Let's just slowly turn the head from side to side. So after that kind of strengthening, stretching movement for the neck, we're just going very slowly from side to side. And when you get to one side, just give a little pause. Make sure you're going to the end of your range. So whatever is possible there, right? You're getting as far over in that direction as you can go. Just a couple more, just making sure we've got that feeling, that sensation of that end range. Good, and then come back to center. So just kind of taking a moment, feeling your neck and your shoulders. Again, your elbows, your wrists. We did a bunch of work there. We're going to move down to the hands. So just take your hands and squeeze and extend your fingers. Some of you said you were doing this while I was away. So notice how the fingers are working this morning, right? Are they smooth? Do you have some joints that are a little clicky, a little clunky, maybe a little sore? And notice as you make a fist where your thumbs are, right? So all of us, most of us, are going to have thumbs on the outside, right? Because that's how we do it. So now what I'm going to have you do is when you make a fist, bring your thumbs to the inside. Don't squeeze too hard though, because thumbs don't like that. And then extend. So we're just going to do thumbs on the inside, right? It's a different way of opening and closing your hands, right? It feels pretty foreign to a lot of us. Because what do we open and close our hands for? To grasp things, right? You can't really grasp anything if you're not using that amazing thumb. Okay, how are we doing? Everybody doing okay there? Good? Okay, let's make it really interesting. So open your hands, and you can look at them. So you're going to take your right thumb in and your left thumb out as you make a fist. And then open, and bring your left thumb in and your right thumb out as you make a fist. Got that? And then go back and forth. On your own. Right. It's a lot harder when I'm not telling you what to do, right? And I'm telling you, this is hard. We're taking a natural movement, which is with the thumb out, and an unnatural movement, which is with the thumb in, and we're combining them, and the brain is having a really hard time figuring out what in the heck is going on, right? You all are focusing on this. The other class was laughing. You guys are so serious. It's like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to get this. I keep messing up here myself. Okay, and then shake that out a little bit. So again, it's good to do these kinds of movements where we not only are we going different from side to side, but we're also taking a movement that isn't natural for us. And we're creating a new neural pathway, a new way to think about how we move our body, and a way to think about how we move our body. Okay, so let's shift gears a little bit. We're going to work on the hips. So I don't know if you remember, because it was like 3 weeks ago, I was talking a lot about the hip socket, the hip joint, and what comprises the hip joint, and that is the leg bone, the femur, which is that great big bone in your thigh, going into the pelvis on the right side and on the left side. And so when we get movement into the hip joint, what we do is we move the leg either toward the body or away from it, or in different directions. So let's start with the feet a little wider apart. Hold on to your chair, and we're just going to lower the knees to one side and then the other. So as you lower to the right, you're rotating your left hip in, and as you rotate to the left, you're rotating your right hip in. Conversely, when you rotate to the right, you're rotating your right hip out, and when you rotate to the left, you're rotating your left hip out. Does that make sense? Yep. So these are the rotational movements that we have, in the hip joint. Now you can stay here. If you want a little more challenge, if you have this available to you in your arms and your shoulder strength, you can lift your bum up off the chair and do it that way. Don't do it if that doesn't work for you. That is not a requirement. It's just an additional piece for those who would like it. You can also do something what I call the bum hover. So just kind of press into your hands, let your bum hover over the chair as you do it. So some of the flesh is still on the chair, but not all the weight is on your backside, right? Just be careful of your wrists. Okay, come back to center. Wasn't that great fun? Okay, so let's bring the feet a little wider, and now we're going to go in and out. In and out. And you can decide how wide your feet are apart. Now, as you go in, I want you to come up on the insides of your feet. And as you go out, see if you can come onto the outsides of your feet, right? So that might dictate how close your feet are together, right? So we're just going out and in. Same thing, we've got that femur in the hip socket, and it's rotating in and out. So we're warming up that hip joint a little bit. Everybody doing okay here? Good, good, good. Couple more, going in and out. Good, and then coming back to a neutral position, bring your feet closer together. And we're gonna do just a really slow high march. So again, thinking about how the femur rotates in the hip joint. So we're just gonna lift one knee up and down and lift the other knee up and down. And we're just doing this nice, gentle lift and lower. So what's happening here is with the feet closer together, we're getting one kind of movement. And now the next time you lift one foot up, we're instead of putting it straight back down, we're going to go out to the side and then come back and down, right? So we're coming up, stepping out to the other side now, and back and down. So it's the same thing, we're just doing a little bit of rotation in here. So we're combining that first movement of rotation in the hip joint with flexion in the hip joint. We're doing okay? I'll take that as a yes. Okay, one more time on each side. Good. Excellent. Okay, and now scoot all the way to the right. So you're kind of half on, half off the chair. We're going to take that right foot and just wiggle walk it out, and then we're going to wiggle walk it back in. So we're doing this again, thinking about the hip joint. We're also getting some ankle movement. We're sneaking in a little ankle movement here, right? So it's like sneaking in some vegetables into something decadent, right? Like, or sneaking in, what is it? Oh, people make black bean brownies. Anybody ever had black bean brownies? It's a good way to get your black beans and it's delicious. You would never know there's black beans in it. Nah, people are going, nah, okay. Maybe that's a bad example. Okay, next time your foot is out, you're going to hold here and then extend that leg. So your torso is facing forward. Extend the leg, bring your toes up toward your shin, right? So the thigh muscles here are nice and strong and active. Take your left hand to your left shoulder and just pull that back a little bit, right? So you want to keep your elbow behind your shoulder, right? And as you keep your elbow behind your shoulder, we're going to start to just crawl that right hand down the right leg, right? So and then come back up. So we're going to do this a few times. The reason we've got the hand on the shoulder and the elbow behind is because this is what a lot of folks will do if we don't have that as sort of a way to guide us over. Everybody doing okay with this? Okay, you're breathing in and breathing out. If you want to add a little more challenge, if it feels like it's comfortable, you can take your elbow up, or you can even take your arm up. Now, the thing you want to be sure of, though, is if you take your hand off your shoulder, that you don't round forward. You want to make sure the elbow stays behind the ear, right? So we're going to do this a few more times. Do it at your own pace. If you need to take a break, take a break. If you can go a little farther as you lean over, go ahead and do that. So you want to challenge yourself in a way that feels productive, right? It shouldn't be super easy, and it shouldn't be so hard that you can't do it. It's got to be somewhere in between. So one more time, coming all the way up and over. Great. Oh. Let's take that foot, heel and toe, walk it back. Let's travel to the other side of the chair. Good. So from here, we're going to do the same thing. Just kind of walk the foot out, walk the foot back. So again, the reason we go in and out, the reason I like to move in and out of some of these positions first is, first of all, to test and see what we have available to us for range, for movement, for accessibility. And the other is to warm up the tissues. So especially if you've, you've been sleeping, it's not early morning, but it's still morning. So if you were sleeping and you're not moving around a lot in your sleep, then some of these tissues are a little more sticky, when you wake up in the morning. Okay. And then the next time that foot is way out, we're going to keep it out and we're going to extend the leg, have the heel on the floor, toes reaching up toward the ceiling, and really firm up the muscles here in the thigh. So we got the muscles firmed up in the thigh. We're going to take the right hand to the right shoulder and pull that back now. So you want to keep your elbow behind your shoulder and then really slowly start to lean into that left side and then come back up. So that's it. Nice and slow. And you can go at a pace that feels okay for you. So if you want to take it even slower, you can go even slower. If you want to go a little bit quicker, you can do that. I don't advise you going too quickly though. If you feel like you want to extend the arm or you want to just get the elbow up, you can do that. You don't have to. You can keep your hand on your shoulder. You can also take a rest if it feels like it's a little too much. Good. Side bending is an important movement for the spine. Side bending, and it's one of those things we don't get a lot of. Think about the things you do in your daily life. How much side bending do you actually do? We actually create more rotation in the lower back than we do side bending. And the lower back is it's designed better for side bending than for rotation, even though it can do both. How about one more time? Good. And then come all the way up. Let's take that foot. And come all the way to the side. Or to the center, sorry. Okay, so we've got a little bit of movement here in the hip sockets. We're going to work on the knees a little bit. So if you want to slide yourself back into the back of your chair, give your back a little bit of a rest because we've been working with holding the spine up, right? All we're going to do now is extend the legs, toes reach toward the shins, and then slow, slow, slow lower down. So we're doing an extension, which is when we straighten the knees, and then a very slow lowering down with the feet still engaged, right? So we're bending the knees slowly. We're keeping the time under tension long here in these muscles for the thighs. Good. We got that? Okay, so nice and slow. Next time you're up, you're going to hold here. And we're just going to lower the left, nice and slow. And as we're raising the left, we're slowly lowering the right. So it's a very slow, deliberate movement. Imagine you're moving your legs through molasses, right? That would be kind of fun. Yucky? That would be yucky. Kinky. Okay then, yeah. I can see that too. Yeah. So it's super duper slow, right? So you can feel the muscles in your legs working. Excellent. Okay, so let's lower both down. Take a little bit of a rest. Let's take the right ankle and cross it over the left ankle. Okay. Now this is going to be harder for a lot of people than lifting and lowering the legs. Because what we're going to do is we're going to relax the right leg. So if you take your hands, Place your hands on your right thigh. This is just to remind your right thigh to relax. Put it in your mind. Right thigh doesn't work. It's not working. It's just the left that's going to work. So your right ankle is crossed on top of your left ankle. As you engage the muscles here in the left thigh to straighten that knee, you're lifting the weight of that lower right leg, right? And lowering down. So that's the whole movement. Now the reason that I say this is very hard is because that right leg is trying not to turn off, right? It's trying to help. It doesn't know how to turn off. So it takes a little concentration. So you might close your eyes. You might deepen your breath. You might just keep reminding that leg that it can completely relax, and it can rely on the left leg. The left leg is strong enough to be able to lift that lower right leg. It's capable of doing that. And the next time you've got your leg extended, I'm going to ask you to hold. So as you're holding, now I want you to talk internally to that right leg, because I know your right leg is still firing. Tell it to relax. As the right leg relaxes, tell the left leg just to hang in there. Should be feeling that left leg start to vibrate a little bit, yeah? Good. Okay, now slowly lower your left leg. Uncross your legs, close your eyes, take a couple of breaths. Notice the right and the left leg. Notice any differences. You can let your eyes open, and we're going to take that left ankle, cross it on top of the right. Now, same thing. Now, this might be easier or it might be harder, so just kind of notice that. So take your hands to your left thigh and just sort of remind it, okay, left thigh, this is your chance to relax and not do anything. And then whenever you're ready, you can start by contracting the muscles here on the right thigh and lifting up and lowering down. And you might notice, hey, that left leg is still firing. Just give it a few moments, right? So you might close your eyes, you might breathe into it. You might have to convince that left leg that it's okay to let go. Or it might be just so tired from the other side that it's like, yeah, of course I'm going to let go. So the right leg is doing all the work. It's lifting the weight of that left leg. It's doing it easily because you're strong. Your leg is strong enough to do this. And the next time that your right leg is extended, you're going to hold there. And you might be noticing as you're holding now, you might be noticing, oh, that left leg is still engaged. And maybe it's not the thigh where your hand is, maybe it's your hip, maybe it's your belly, maybe it's your lower leg. So see if you can take some breaths and sort of convince that left leg to relax. And hopefully you're starting to feel a little bit of vibration in the right leg. And then let's slowly lower that right foot down. Good. Uncross your legs. Take a moment. Breathing in, breathing out. Can let your eyes open. Scoot forward on your chair. So how many of you found it was difficult to let one leg relax? Was it more difficult on one side than the other? Yeah, so we kind of have a dominant side, right? We're going to talk a little bit more about that in a minute. But so let's take the right leg, and we're going to reach out with the toes, point the foot as far as you can, and tap the floor. And then you're going to take that same foot, and you're going to come back and tap your heel, keeping the front of your foot lifted off the floor. So this is kind of tricky. So you don't want to come so far back that you can't get your heel on the floor. You also don't want to come so far back that you can't lift your ball of your foot off the floor. You want to come to that Goldilocks place where you get the heel on the floor, but the ball of the foot is lifted. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay. So that's the movement. So we're going to come forward, stretch, 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 point the toe, put it on the floor. Come back, heel on the floor, ball of the foot lifted. So heel on the floor, ball of the foot lifted. Come forward, come back, right? So I want you to notice how far forward you can come and point and how far back you can go before the ball of the foot gets put on the floor, right? So we want that ball of the foot to be lifted. And you're not going to come as far back as you think, right? Is anybody noticing that? Yeah. Yeah, it's a little surprising. You're like, oh, I should be able to get much farther back than that. How about one more time? Good. Okay. So take a moment, just kind of notice. So when we come forward, we're really stretching the leg, right? When we come back, what we're trying to do is get the toes as close to the shin as possible with the heel on the floor and the ball of the foot lifted. When the foot goes in this position, the toes coming up toward the shin, that's called dorsiflexion. So think of the top. The top is the dorsum. Think of a dorsal fin on a shark. Right? That's the top fin, because they have fins everywhere. So that's the top fin. So dorsiflexion, and you know why that's important? When you're walking, as you take this foot forward, right? So here we are, we're in extension on the foot. When I swing that foot forward, I need to be able to lift those toes toward the shin so that I don't bring the top of my foot on the floor and fall forward. So we don't exercise, we don't work on dorsiflexion or the front movement as much as we should. How many calf raises do we do? How many stretches do we do for the calf? We don't do nearly enough for the front of the foot. And that is very important, especially as we get a little bit older, to make sure we've got the ability to lift those toes up toward the shin. So let's try that on the other foot. And I want you to pay attention now that you know why we're doing it and how important dorsiflexion is. Pay attention to any difference on the right side and the left side. So I'm just planting that little seed because I'm going to take you somewhere with that. So take your foot and extend it out, point the toes and push the toes onto the floor, and then come back, heel on the floor, ball of the foot lifted. So you want to come back. When you come back, you want to come back as far as you can, right, to get that dorsiflexion in there. Now you might notice that, oh, I can do that if I like rotate my hip in or my knee in. Try not to do that. Try and do it with just the ankle. It's a little bit harder. Some of us are going to be able to go way back. Some of us are not going to get very far back at all, right? Are you noticing a difference from the other foot? Yeah, interesting, right? Good. And when you point, are you noticing a difference from the other foot? Yeah. You can on one side and you can on the other side, yeah. Just a couple more of these. Good. And then come back. So how many of you noticed that difference from side to side? Yeah, so what is often the case is you have more range through your ankle on your dominant leg. The best way to know what your dominant leg is when you go upstairs, which one goes first? That's your dominant leg. How many of you walk, like, for exercise? Okay. Do you go like on and off curbs and things like that sometimes? Yeah. Do you ever notice how the curb always hits you in your dominant leg? Did you ever notice that? Yeah. They did not design the sidewalks in Walpole to do that for you. No. So when you're walking and you see, so I see the curb there, right? And I'm not even aware that this is happening, but I'm going to change my stride so that when I get to the curb, my dominant leg goes up. I'm not even aware it's happening. It's just a background thing. The brain is calculating, oh, we need to do this. So one thing you can do, and do very slowly when you're walking, because we don't want any face planting on the sidewalks. When you get up close, when you start to approach, notice that your stride is probably shifting. And then when you get up to it, pause and take your non-dominant leg and try going up that way or down and notice what happens. The other thing you can do is on the stairs. So again, same thing, super slow. If you've got dual rails, which I love, if you don't have them, I really encourage people to get dual rails, especially as we get older. Hold on to the rail and slowly go up with the non-dominant leg. You can do the same thing coming down slowly with the non-dominant leg. It's sort of a way to recalibrate your brain a little bit and get a variety of movement in your body, right? So I love that we walk, I love that we do all these movements, but the thing is, if we always do the same thing, like if I always do the same walk, I say I walk a mile around Walpole and I always do the same walk and I do it in the same way every time, I'm strengthening certain tissues and I'm continuing to strengthen those tissues, and that's a good thing, so keep doing that. But there are other tissues that are not getting the benefit of that. So that's that opposite kind of movement that we can do that starts to strengthen those other tissues a little bit more. It's like trying to get your thumbs in and out, right? It's like, well, I don't do that. Okay, but don't do it fast, please. No falling. That's the most important thing. All right, let's come down to the feet. Hello, feet. How are our feet doing today? How many of you worked on your feet while I was gone? Yay. Awesome. All right, let's lift and lower all those toes. Lift and lower all the toes. And you can go fast or slow, doesn't really matter. Okay, and then let's lift and lower just the bigs. And you're breathing. You can go fast, you can go slow, just the big toes, not the little ones now, just the bigs. And now keep the bigs down and lift and lower just the littles. Always difficulty with that, right? Still having it. Keep at it. I told you it took me 45 years, so keep going. You don't have 45 left? Do the best you can. All right. Let's lift up all the toes and let's lower and lift just the bigs. So the littles stay lifted. Says you, right? And then keep the bigs lifted, lower and lift all the littles. And again, you can go fast or slow, doesn't matter. Are you breathing? That's what matters. Okay, then lift everybody up. Let's make it more fun. So on the right, lower the big, on the left, lower the littles. Lift everybody up. On the right, lower the littles, on the left, lower the big. And then go back and forth at your own pace, right? So on one foot, you're lowering the big. On the other foot, you're lowering the littles. You're kind of going back and forth. And you're breathing. That's all you need to do is just breathe. Okay, and then lift everybody up. Let's do a little toe piano. So spread the fingers, spread the toes nice and wide. And then you're going to place all the toes down, starting from the last one. Go all the way up like you're placing your toes on the keys of a piano. And then you're going to lift from the big all the way up to the little. And then place down from the little all the way to the big. From the big, lifting to the little. Keep going, keep breathing, keep smiling. Next time you got everybody lifted, we're going to hold there. And now see if you can get your bigs down and your babies down, but not your middles. There you go. And lift everybody up. Bigs go down, babies go down, littles stay lifted. I mean middles. I said, yeah, sorry. Middles stay lifted. And then lift up again. Bigs go down, babies go down, middles stay lifted. And relax all of that. Great. Okay, so let's take the right foot back into Barbie foot. Push down into that Barbie foot. So you can get the little toe on the ground. So for some of us, depending on the shape of your foot, if you have more of a slope-shaped foot, the little toe might not get on the ground as easily, so you can just angle your heel out a little bit. You get that little toe down there. And then let's do the same thing on the left side. So little Barbie foot on the left. So we got all the toes kind of getting a good stretch there, especially that little toe. This is a great stretch to do if you have some heel pain, by the way. This is stretching the little muscles here that flex your toes. It's giving them a good stretch. There's been some research suggesting that tightness here in these intrinsic foot muscles, the flexor digitorum brevis, that these tight flexor muscles can create a lot of heel pain. We often go after the fascia. So put your foot back down on the floor, which is fine to do. Let's take, we're going to do the opposite of the Barbie foot. So we're going to bring the top of the foot on the floor and stretch if you can. And again, if you push a little more to the big toe side, you'll feel that come up kind of the front of your ankle and leg. If you push a little more to the little toe side, you're going to feel it a little more on the outside. You don't want to put a whole lot of pressure on this, because this is some delicate tissue out there. And then we're going to release that and bring your foot to the floor. Go back to the other side, same thing. So just kind of taking that foot, pressing down. So we're getting a good stretch there. Big toe side, little toe side, whatever feels okay. And then release that and bring it back. Take a moment, feel those feet and ankles now, right? So we've kind of integrated everything all the way up and through. So make yourself comfortable. If you want to stay where you are, you can do that. If you want to sit back into your chair, you can do that. And when you're there, you can just kind of close your eyes. And just notice any sensations in your body from your feet all the way up to your top of your head, including your hands and fingers. Notice your elbows and wrists, your shoulders. Notice your neck. Notice your hips, your thighs, your knees, your shins, your ankles. Everything we worked today, everything that got a little bit of nourishment this morning. Movement is nourishment for the tissues. It's like having breakfast, like your tissues got to have a little breakfast this morning. And then notice your breath. So turning away from the limbs, going back to the torso, thinking of your torso like an elastic container. The front, the back, the sides, the top, the bottom. As you inhale and exhale, see if you can feel movement in that container, throughout that container. And take your right hand to your chest, like right near your heart, and then cover your right hand with your left. And just breathe in and breathe out. See if you can feel some movement underneath your hands. So again, just sort of this part of the container is sometimes really hard for us to feel movement. After your next inhale, you can let that breath go with a sigh. And just taking a moment in gratitude to yourself for being here, for being together, for this beautiful day. And then if you'd like, maybe just opening your eyes and just noticing and being grateful for this community, all these wonderful people. Thank you all. I'll see you all next week. Thank you.